Hey, my name's BJ Ingate. I'm 22. I am a dancer and a filmmaker and a creative, I guess. I just like making stuff and I have a lot of interests and yeah, that's me.
G'day BJ.
Morning.
How you going?
Good, how are you? Coming in.
Thanks. Okay, so I think we're good. Okay.
Hello.
Are you ready, BJ?
I am ready, I think.
Okay. So BJ, on your personal YouTube channel, you've done quite a few choreographed dances. Aside from your love of dancing, what would you say inspired some of those particular videos? And what was the process of creation behind them like?
Great question. I think a lot of them were different in terms of the process and how they started. So usually it starts with the music, and then if I find a song that really inspires me, then that will usually already give me somewhere to start with my choreography or whatever. And then if I am feeling good about it, I'll set up a camera and film it or whatever. Some of them, like there's one with like a red chair and it's just me in my garden. That was like the lowest effort possible. I made that up because I was teaching dance during one of the lockdowns, and so all my students were dancing in their bedrooms and in their lounge rooms, so they had no room. So I was like, what can I do that's fun and interesting for these kids who are stuck in their houses? So I just got a chair and just made this little routine up on a chair. So I thought they can do that in a small area, whatever, and taught it, and they were like, oh, that was really fun. And then I just had my camera out in the garden, and it was a nice day, and I was like, I could probably film that thing that I made up randomly. So that wasn't even that. That was just something I had to make up for work that I filmed.
Yeah.
Usually the hard part for me is following through and actually filming it and finishing it.
Right. You're not just a solo creator, however, working with your good friend Chester on both the Dark Tides podcast, which is now well into its third season, and CNB Studios, where the two of you have created content for over 6 years. How does that element of collaboration inspire you creatively and affect the way the two of you create content together?
I think it's really important to make things with other people, especially for me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And I'm also very easily distracted, which is kind of strange, but they kind of go together. And so I find it very easy to just not make things, like I was saying before, or not finish things. So working with someone really helps with that, because you just have so much more energy and it's so much more inspiring to work with someone. And with Chester particularly, because we've been making stuff together since we were tiny, which helps a lot. But we're very different as well. So I'm very detailed orientated, very perfectionistic, very all the little details and make them just right. And he's completely opposite. He is just massive broad stroke, just make the thing, it doesn't matter, and very driven to I'll just start and just make it. And so when we work together, it's really good because he'll get us started and then I'll follow behind and go, but you haven't thought about this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. So I think we work quite well together for that reason. And it's partly a personality thing, and it's also partly just practice because we've been doing it for so long. But having said that, the reason why we make stuff together so much is because we've tried many times to make things with big groups of people, which is amazing and really fun. But it's a lot more difficult. In a lot of ways, because I think scheduling is the hardest part of any collaboration. So if you can find a small group of people who are just on that same wavelength as you, even if they're very different, that's wonderful. Bigger groups can be a challenge, but it's possible. It's just a different kind of thing. We've kind of helped each other with our own projects, and we've made stuff together. And then the podcast was his brother's idea. Again, because he wanted to write plays, and he was writing plays after uni, and then COVID happened, so he had to stop. But he still wanted to keep writing, so he's like, well, I had this idea to fuse audiobooks and D&D together and maybe some improv comedy and make it a podcast I don't know anyone mad enough to help me with that except my brother and his weird friend.
Right.
And that's how it started.
Fair enough.
We're still going. We talked about this. Me and Puck are not
You know
going
what?
to go together.
You're on Ernest.
You know what, Puck?
You know what?
What?
Ernest?
What,
She's
Puck?
like sidling,
Right. Both of
sidling
you,
her.
shut the hell up.
No.
Yes.
Ernest?
Yes.
By the
absolutely.
time that this is
Puck,
over,
You're
stop
not
talking.
my
we're going to
boss.
be best friends.
Yes, actually.
We're going
I
to
am.
really
No, you're
bond.
not.
Shut up, both of you!
You juggle a ton of different creative projects and content all at once. What is that balance like for you, and how do you manage not to lose focus amongst the madness and chaos of it all?
I think that question assumes that I don't lose focus. And I really do. The other thing that absolutely saves my life is a paper diary. It's just that I have like 7 part-time jobs and projects, and all of them take up a little bit of time. But when you stack them all together, it takes up a lot of time. So I just write everything in a diary. Like, I have to do this at this time. I have to do this at this time. And I've tried so hard with like the online like Google Calendar, and it just doesn't work for me. That's a weird thing, but it doesn't work for everyone, but saved my life many times.
My group and I have been tasked with making a piece of content based on the creative brief. We are living on the verge of immense challenges and opportunities that will change the way we live, engage the audience in a fact-based dreaming of their possible futures. So how would you go about creating something in that brief in your own way? Is there anywhere your mind immediately goes to in terms of ideas or inspiration?
I love that brief. I read it like 3 times and then understood what it was talking about. I suppose with art and creating things, filmmaking, dancing, acting, whatever, we're very privileged in that we can talk about things without talking about them. I've always been interested in sort of period of history from like the 1930s to like the 50s. The thing that strikes me is I just love that period of history, but it seems so much more simple than the way we live now, in that we've got the opportunities of the entire world is connected now. We've got devices that can just shoot stuff. We can share our art instantly on the internet and have hundreds of people look at it.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's a great thing. Like, that's really wonderful that we're so connected. But that can also be an issue because it takes us away from the simplicity of living. The first thing that came to mind was making something that kind of harkens back to that simpler age of living, and to kind of present people this idea that it's possible to live simply and live connected to people and the things that really matter. I don't know how I would do that. Maybe like a little montage film thing of just like, I don't know, living simply. I'm not sure if that's easy.
Yeah.
Or a little, like, simple little choreographed movement piece of 2 people having a picnic or something. Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went to.
As a creative, BJ, what advice would you give to other perhaps young and upcoming creators who are perhaps equally as driven and passionate to create things as you are?
Just make stuff. Just make stuff. Just anything. Just make it. Whatever it is, just make it. You never know where it's going to lead you.
Yeah.
So the stuff that Chester and I made, for example, we made like a short film series that's fine. It's fine. We made it when we were like 17, 18. But everything that we learned when like we got jobs with film companies and when we like started working, we didn't have to do any of the like, how do I do this? Because we already knew how to operate a camera, how to frame a shot. Not because we'd studied it, but we learnt. So I remember turning to him and I was like, these films got us jobs. If you can't possibly not learn if you make stuff. And if you can be comfortable with the idea that there's going to be problems with it, and like embrace that and go, oh, what I'm making isn't great. Great. How can I learn? How can I be better? Make as much as you can all the time, because you can't possibly not learn.
Yeah.
And learning is great because it's powerful and it helps you make better stuff in the future.
Thanks a lot, BJ.
You're welcome.
Well, cheers, BJ, for that awesome interview. I took quite a lot of things away from what you had to say, including when it comes to group projects, having a good schedule, making sure that you're communicating with everyone and that you're all on the same page, and also when it comes to personal projects, having your own diary so that when you're working on a lot of things at once, you don't lose track of it all and you have everything written down so you know what you're doing. And also, I really liked his point about just making stuff. Throwing anything and everything at the wall, whether it sticks or not, is not the point. Just the fact you've thrown it is half the battle, and it's a good thing to do. So I really like that, learning by doing. And I was quite intrigued by your brief as well. Simple living. Very interesting. We'll see how we go. But that was the interview. Thanks a lot, BJ, and thanks a lot to all of you out there for watching. Goodbye.
Matt, I know you're watching. Ronan better get a good mark for this video. You better.
I better.
You better.
Oh no, that's too
You know
soon.
why? Because I'll come for you. If he doesn't get a good mark, I will come for you and I'll do something drastic. Drastic!